What is food for the spirit? What is spiritual food? It's a legit question because God regularly invites us to eat with joy, clearly referring to our physical food. That every taste would be for us a tangible encounter with God's goodness. And so, yeah, whether it's utterly ordinary stuff like cereal or yogurt or chicken pot pie or an exquisite 7-course meal, every taste is to be received, every bite, from God Himself. And yet, we are not just physical creatures. We are physical and spiritual creatures. Our physicality and our spirituality united inseparably in us. And so as physical creatures, we eat. As spiritual creatures, we also need to eat spiritually. Which raises again that question, what is spiritual food for us? One answer is simply to listen. When God speaks, to listen. That is spiritual eating for us. In Psalm 81, God invites His people to listen and open their mouths wide and I will fill it. We open ourselves to God's good, rich presence with us by listening to what He says. When God's people were hungry in the desert, God invited them to listen to His words, that we live not just by bread alone, but also by every word that comes from the mouth of God. Words that Jesus Himself picked up and used when He was hungry in the desert. And in Isaiah 55, we have this marvelous image, this invitation of rich, amazing food on offer, which God says is us opening ourselves up to His reassurance and love and direction, His word to us. To listen is spiritual food for us. There is another spiritual food, to love and care for others. Throughout the story of God's people, this has been our invitation, to not simply take for ourselves, but that we are more blessed. We have more fun when we give out to others. Jesus Himself said this in a moment where physically He was very hungry and indeed physically was rather thirsty. Some people came up to Him and asked Him about getting some food, and He told them, well, in a way, I've already eaten, and honestly, I'm quite satisfied because, says Jesus, my food is to do the will of my Father who sent me here to love and serve and care. Spiritual food is found when we give ourselves to others. Yet another answer may be super obvious, but it's worth saying that the Lord's Supper is spiritual food for God's people. The Lord Jesus Himself gave this promise that all people who belong to Him, as they take ordinary bread and ordinary wine and in a shared meal together, take this bread, take this cup in remembrance of Him by His word of promise. It's spiritually feeding, taking in Jesus' finished work for us and being nourished deep in the way that only Jesus can do for us. The Lord's Supper is spiritual food. But let's not leave this out, that our physical food, taken in gratitude, enjoyed because it comes from the God who loves us and has given this world to have fun with to us, that our physical eating can be also a spiritual eating to nourish us physically and spiritually for this life that God invites us into with Him. So yes, eat spiritually by listening to God. Eat spiritually by giving yourself to others as God would have us do. Eat spiritually by participating in the Lord's Supper and indeed the corporate gatherings of God's people for worship and just being with God and each other. And eat spiritually in every bite of food, this daily bread that our Father so faithfully provides. Enjoy. Eat well. Hi, I'm Pastor James Cumin. If you liked this video, please click the like button, subscribe, do the social media things. And if you'd like more information, content on ways to follow Jesus in everyday life, check out our website, inglewoodpc.org. We have some stuff waiting there just for you. God bless. See you soon.